Good morning. Thanks for joining me today. How are we all doing? Or do we have some exciting plans coming up in a week from today? I hope you all do. Let me see. I'm going to check some comments. Thanks for joining me. Next week, will you all be enjoying some turkey instead of joining us here? Probably. I know my family's getting together for turkey, so yeah. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about foil. We have our daily deals coming up to the big Black Friday. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you. I always love getting my first comment. It truly does take a weight off your shoulders that you're just like, okay, I pushed the right buttons. So thanks for joining me. Have you guys give me a heart or a raise your hand if you've already gotten in on some of the specials for this week. It's our season of crafting, and we have kicked off all week, and today is one of my favorite topics. It is foil. I had the joy of being landed on this day for my live. I was pretty excited. Hi, Jan from Colorado Springs. And Terry, good morning. Jen is Thanksgiving with her daughter and her family. Wonderful. Wonderful. Mary's already gotten in on the specials. Good morning. I'm sorry that it's rainy in New York, but I bet you are thankful for the rain. You guys have been pretty dry from what I've heard on the news. So welcome. Good morning, Mary. Yay. Cynthia did some shopping. Yeah, I want to do some shopping myself. I have a couple of pricey things on my list that I want to get. But good morning. Today is a foil day. I will tell you in advance. Next week is I have no tea to spill for next week. You'll want to come next week to join Taylor for all the sneak peeks about the Black Friday bundles. I know there's been a lot of discussion about when you all get to see them, and I do have a tip for you. If you go to the website under Connect with Us and sign up for the text, you will find out and get sneak peeks first of all of the Black Friday bundles. So if you're into that and you want to know, go ahead and go on the website under Connect with Us and sign up under there for the text messages. So otherwise it will all show up. It will all show up. I'm sure you'll get an email about it. I'm sure you'll see it on Facebook, all the things. So make sure you do that if you want to be the first. There will be sneak peeks. So I don't have any tea for you today because Taylor gets the joy of sharing all of that. So today we're going to talk about foil, and I posted some of my cards that I'm going to share with you today earlier. So we will talk foil. I love foiling. Have you done foiling would be my question. And that deal runs through today. So it's all the TE branded foiling things. I know it's first thing when you go on our website, so you'll see it there. Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Good morning. Oh my gosh, Lisa from Idaho and Sacramento and OKC. I'm sure that stands for something and I'm missing it right now. Oklahoma City, I assume. Welcome. Nashville, she says, is chilly. Oh, we got an eye-opener here. We had a 60-degree Monday and like a 35-degree Tuesday. So we got an eye-opener for the cold. No power still in the Pacific Northwest. That sounded crazy, a bomb cyclone. I had to listen to the description of that because I had no idea what that was for sure. I didn't know what a derecho was before it came through Iowa either. So good morning. Oh, you accidentally scheduled a chiropractor appointment next Tuesday. Now, that's okay. You can watch that one back. That is just the sneak peeks of it. So that stuff won't go live until Friday. Good morning, Angie. Good morning, friend. Good morning, Mindy. Well, let's talk foiling. Let's just get into it and flip down. I have lots to share. So these are the two cards we're going to talk about today. These, there's so much to cover when it comes to foiling. I picked just a couple of things. We're going to walk through a lot of things, though, that are just not going to end up being finished projects, and we'll see how far we get on these. But these are a couple of the cards that I feel like can give you maybe a new twist that we've all talked about, kind of our basics. So several things with that. Let me remind you today of the special for today is foiling items, but it's the TE branded foiling items. So I'm going to show a lot of TE branded foiling items that are on sale today, but I do have some companion things that are not. So don't be surprised. Let me think. Some of the Deco foil branded things. What else? I know all of our TE foils. The mink is on sale today for the first time. I don't think we've ever done that. So isn't that fun? I'll bring mine in so you can see it. That is 30% off today. So make sure you check that out. If you don't have one, I love the little mini mink. It's what we use here on our lives. We love it. We also have the big one that we use when we're designing. But that is on sale. All the TE branded foils are also. So just go ahead and check that category. But I will use some things today that are not a part of that category, but are a great add-on. So let me get into it a little bit. So some of the basic things that you need to get started are the carrier sheets, which I do know these are TE branded, the carrier sheet and the shim, so they are on sale. And then you want your mink, you're going to want your carrier sheet and shim, need foil for basic foiling, and then you need something toner based, whether it be our foilets, we sell lots of them, our insiders, any of our panels, all of those that are toner based. There is a product by Deco Foil that is a Deco Foil sheet, and I thought I had laid that here. Let me double check, because I just want to show you the packaging. Here, let me grab it. This is the packaging. So I'm going to talk you through, they sell a clear designer toner sheet that you can print on if you have a toner printer. Just make sure it's toner printer. Most of our printers, even like mine at home, is an inkjet, and that won't do this for you. But it's for printing on, but I use it for other things. And then the one that is kind of something that I really started with when I started foiling was the toner sheets. They also have a peel and stick one. Again, those are not on sale, but they're a great addition for any of your foiling projects. So that's kind of your basics to kind of get started. Is you have to have a mink. I know there's always been discussions about using the laminators. Those you just have to make sure and like I said, this one's on sale, so it's a good time to pick it up. You can use laminators, but I just have a lot better luck with the mink branded thing. Laminators, you'll just kind of want to ask around to people that use it to get tips. I know one tip is to make sure you heat it up for a long time, but for purposes today and what we do in the office, we always use our mink. All of the TE foilets are toner printed. So if you see it says foilet, and all of our insiders are toner printed, so they will adhere to any of our TE fun foils when they've been put through the mink. So I just kind of want to walk you through kind of a basic. Let me grab, let's see. I think I'll just start with our fine line, just to kind of start with some basics. So we'll get our mink turned on. There's an on and off switch on the back, so you'll want to turn it on. And then this little thing is just for if you have a jam, just FYI. It's just to release if you got paper jammed in there. Then you'll want to press your button to 2 or 3, depending on your projects. Every mink is a little different. This mink is a 3. Our old big mink required a 4. I think it was just because it was getting old. I'm not really sure. But so every mink kind of operates a little differently. And you will see later when I do things with the acetate or the clear toner sheets, I do go down 1 notch. But for most of my basic projects, I kind of sit at a 3. And it'll blink until it goes green, and that means that it's ready to go. This is the fine line leaf, and I do have one up front here that is already done. Isn't that pretty? Just so pretty how it catches the light, right? So I'm going to show you though from beginning to end. So this, like I said, this is our sugar cube cardstock. So you know you're getting a cardstock that's a white that's going to match our sugar cube because it's the same color. And this is printed with toner. Valerie says that the setting 4 works best on hers. I love that you said that because it is so true. Every mink is a little different. I've had some that run really hot and 2 is high enough. So you just have to figure out what works best for your machine. So I've got that, and being as I want to do this card up, I'm going to go ahead and grab our foil. I was debating for a second because this one is done with gold foil that I did earlier. But I really also love champagne, which is the kind of was my staple for years. Let's do that just so you can see a different foil. So this is the TE champagne foil, and these tops work best if you kind of give them a little bit of a twist to get them off. And then there is a piece of this just happens to be a piece of Post-it tape. I like to keep something to kind of hold it shut. So I'm going to take my foil, I'm going to cut that to the size of my cardstock. I know some people like to cut them to 4 inches ahead of time. Whatever works best for you, do that. I like to put that back on. And the way that I like to put mine away is because I don't like to fight with that cap, is I put my foil down inside the cap and then press the packaging, onto it. Keeps so I don't have to fight the lid hitting the edge of my roll there. All right, now here at TE we have our own carrier sheets. I always say they don't last forever, but try to be as nice as you can to yours. You want to make sure anywhere that you see the toner is covered with your foil. If you leave any of it exposed, you're going to end up with that black on your carrier sheet. We have learned that a little bit of rubbing alcohol and some elbow grease will get it off, but you really want to try to not let that happen. Go ahead and make sure that you cover everything that's black. So again, this is the piece of our champagne that I cut off already, and I'm going to put it dull side down. So this is what I call the right side, the pretty side, and this would be the dull side of this champagne foil. I'm going to put it on there just to cover that up. One tip, and I didn't grab it, hold please, is to use a Swiffer or just a microfiber cloth that's clean. I do like to do that to wipe the back of my foil that's going to be touching my foilet or my panel. And I do also kind of give a quick wipe over the top of my toner sheet. I do that because in our craft rooms, or if you have pets, I've even had my own hair get on that, and wherever that little piece of debris or hair might be won't foil because it can't grab onto each other. Ask me how I know. I had one day I sent a foilet through and I must have had a little piece of my hair, so I had a line that I could see running straight through my image. But again, so I've got my carrier sheet, the shim, which we do make in-house here, and it conducts heat. It's not just a piece of plastic. There is science behind it. So we've got our carrier sheet, the shim, our card panel foilet, and then our foil pretty side up, dull side against the toner. And then I always stick your folded side of your carrier sheet through the machine first. You want your machine to grab that. That way you don't have any issues with anything kind of buckling or kind of, getting wrinkled up in there. And then it'll just go through your machine. Let me make sure if I'm not missing any questions. I see someone, Charlie probably tagged the sale links for you for the 30% off. Run that through. Another thing that I also like to do is let this cool a bit before I go and peel it off. I just feel like it does help. I don't know for sure, but for me it helps. I feel like it just lets everything cool, so everything is all adhered and at its non-heated state anymore. And I feel like there's a little bit of a sheen difference if I just wait for it to cool a little bit. Just a little bit. Of course, my glass board is a little cooler anyway. And then this is probably my favorite part of foiling, is to take it and peel it. And I can already see that I have good, grab on everything because I can see where everything is adhered already. So, and then peel that up. Isn't that beautiful? That's the best part, right? So again, this is champagne, and I have to show you. my card today is inspired by this card that Lori Craig made, because I wanted to show you this piece that gets peeled off can be also used. So I took this idea. I did ask Lori over the weekend if I could case her card or copy her card, and she said that was okay. So I'm going to take this card and show you. I get a lot of questions that people ask what you do with this. So that is the basic foiling, how you send it through. And I will get to showing you what I'm going to do with the scrap. I'm not going to throw that out. But a couple of other things to talk about is we don't only sell those panels. We also have things like, I love these. These are a go-to for me because, as you know, my favorite thing is embossing. So my second, like right behind it thing is having a shiny sentiment. So whether I do black with clear emboss or I use one of these already pre-printed sentiments that I can foil. So this is our on occasion. If you're a big fan of having shiny sentiments and then the ease of use, these are great because you can get a packet of them. They're toner printed. I like to cut them apart or die cut them ahead of time. And then that way I can have a sentiment. All I have to do is add my toner. And if it's die cut, I'm all ready to go. So at first I started just foiling the whole panel. But for me, I've kind of gotten away from that and just taking out what I want or die cutting them. Oh, sorry, I cannot. Someone said thanks for the input on the lid. Isn't that crazy? It really helps, and I have run into the top of the foil with my lid before, and then I crinkle my foil, so I hate that. So I just let it set down in the lid and then push the base of it on. Glad that helped you. Didn't know if I should even mention it. It's just one of my habits of things that I can't not do now. So, but again, just to point that out, if you're someone that really loves a foiled sentiment, I have a card I'm going to use the treat yourself on it today. One other thing that I want to point out is we do have a few. This is one that's been around for a while. It's called a new leaf stencil. We have toner sheets that kind of fill in parts of the lines. And I did these on a live a while back, and I still had them on my desk. Kind of just gives you just a little something extra to that background. Little zhuzhing it up just a bit, right? So it's just this stencil coordinates with those two that are in there. But just something to keep in mind. Sometimes I'll just go on our website and put in foil it just to kind of see what other things are out there. So back to this. I have been asked many, many times what we do with the extra, this, or what would be considered garbage. And I always thought for a long time, well, it served its purpose. We have a pretty panel here. But then I got into adding it to the toner foil sheets. So again, I've already cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And it's one of the Deco foil toner sheets because I know just being able to see it helps. And like I said, I've cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because that's what my card panel was. Again, with this, make extra sure that you do not have any black showing. If you're going to have some black showing, I would highly recommend I'm going to take this and kind of chop. I must have not cut my foil totally perfectly. So I'm going to cut off the edge because I don't want that to be on my carrier sheet. So let's lay that right on top. And again, this is the regular one. I haven't gotten a ton of use out of the peel and stick one. If you did like die cuts or something like that you were foiling, that would be great because I would already have adhesive on the back. But these are just the regular ones, but they're full toner. It's all black toner. So again, I have that toner and then what I would consider the matte or the wrong side of my foil against that. Again, I've got my shim in there. I'm going to put it into my mink with the folded side first and run that through. I do have an alternative way of using this that I will show you in a minute, in case you were curious. If you know where I'm going with this, it involves our sticky sheet. But welcome to whoever just joined us late. Is there a white toner sheet, Gloria? No. It is a $1 million question, right? No white. The reason for that is just because toner is black. It is a full saturation of color. And I would love it. It would be a wonderful thing. I completely think that sounds great. But no, not yet. So again, I'm gonna let this cool just a smidge. I'm gonna turn off my mink just because we're not gonna use it for a couple of minutes here. That's the nice thing about the mink over using any other tool, is that it heats up and is ready to go in a hurry. So again, I've let that cool. I'm gonna pull that out of my carrier. I try not to go too far with that because I can tell you, I have 3 of these in my craft room and I still am losing them. So I think it's part of it is just that it's so clear or hard to see. So Gloria, I love the way you think though, because we've asked this question many a times. So again, the full thing, and then you peel that up. So now this is the end of the line because you can't, I don't know what else you could do with this clear piece. It's not perfect. I don't think I did the Swiffer. I'm sure you guys can attest to that. I skipped that. Normally I do like to do that. But that can be sometimes where you get little bits here and there, is because I either probably had a fleck of something. But look at that. So isn't that pretty? So I can take something like that. I'll grab my trimmer and cut that down to a panel for another card. So this way you're getting 2 for 1. And being that I have this straight line of these leaves, I am going to use that little wire that runs through my trimmer to straighten this up. Because those little lines of the leaf do kind of make it so you can see that your paper pattern is going straight or not. So I'm gonna go ahead and, working against my mink here, straighten this up a little bit just to trim off the sides. This I want to cut down to, I believe I have this one cut down to 3.5. That's what I thought, 3.5. So then it would be by 4 3/4. So I cut it down quite a bit. I think I'm even taking off some of that. I want to kind of center it up. That's what I'm doing. But with this pattern, you do have a definite line that you want to follow. All right. And that will give us the panel that we need for this card. Get that out of the way. Garbage out of the way. And that is how I created the panel that goes on here. This is our sketched hearts dies, and I think those are beautiful. Lori did hers as a grateful card, but I thought this could be a beautiful card for wedding or whatever you need it for. I thought it could be a Valentine's card, but a wedding, I did a happy anniversary, a congratulations on your engagement. There's tons of things like that that could be used for. And this is the whole die set that is in that. Let me poke these out. And I use the Inside Scoop Wedding. It also has Happy Anniversary in it. Let me grab that. I thought I brought that one in up here with me. Poke these out. I die cut them ahead of time just because I thought it would save us one step, right? Set these aside. I'm going to see how far we get on the end to assemble these, but we'll set that aside for now. But that's how I did those 2 panels. Then I wanted to continue on and show you my favorite other way, because as you guys know, I love my stencils so much. This stencil is called the paint swatch stencil. It kind of looks like someone just kind of flicked paintbrushes all over. And this one I like to use with our glitter, or I like to use tons of them with our glitter grab. I know you've probably seen me do this before in the past, but glitter grab through any stencil kind of opens up a whole nother world of things that you can do with your stencils. So glitter grab is meant to normally pull through a stencil and then throw loose glitter on it, which you totally can, but one of my favorite ways to use it is with the mink. So let's grab, I'm gonna grab a panel of saltwater taffy that I've already pre-cut for us. You can do this with white. I'm gonna show you an example with white also. I like to just take a little piece of either tape runner or tape, and we'll put that on the back. And then, which I don't have tape runner, but we'll just use a little bit of teal tape back here. That'll work too, and it won't matter as much that we're flat. Flip that over, and then I'm going to take, again, make sure, as I've said a million times, broken record, right? Make sure your stencil's right side up. And when I do a project with glitter grab, I like to make extra sure that I have a hinge built at the top. And that is because I swear to you, it makes a huge difference. For years, I was always getting mad that like there'd always be a spot when I pulled up my stencil that it was smudged here or there. Come to find out, it's just because of kind of the movement of the stencil as you're pulling it off. And it was always kind of happening to me near the top. So the hinging it at the top so that it's not going to move more than just one piece of tape. I try to use two just to keep that all in place. And then my favorite two things for this project that I used to use just an old credit card and it works, but this thing is just like butter. It's called the Stencil Pal. It is, again, it's not TE branded, so it's not on sale today, but I love this thing. It literally is, I think the thing I love about it is that it's as wide as my cardstock so that I can just pull straight down and not have to pick it up or have a line from where I have to move over. Like a credit card is just shorter, so when you move it, you end up with a line. Now, for years, I don't know if I'm using this right, but I can tell you for a fact what works best for me is to put this beveled edge. So when you look at it, this side's perfectly flat, and then you have a side with a beveled edge. I like to use the fully straight beveled edge side and run it down against my paper. I find the flat side, if it has any sort of little groove or anything, will make a line on your paper. And then obviously this curved side, I don't like to use just because then I'm not getting the entire sheet evened out, because I'm trying to even out the glitter grab I'm going to put down. So glitter grab, when you purchase it, does have in a little like protective lid. I would highly recommend you hold on to that. It helps just kind of keep your jar from drying out. Also, I know some people will put press and seal over this also, but definitely keep that inside piece. Don't throw it out. That just dawned on me. I think that might be why my husband always says to me why I don't throw out, like on hummus or Pringles jar. You know how there's that top piece, you take the lid off and then you peel that top piece off? I never fully take it off and throw it out. And my husband's always like, why don't you get rid of that? And I'm like, I don't know. Just feel like in some way it's going to keep my Pringles or the cashews or something, I don't know, more fresh. Maybe it all comes back to my crafting. I don't know. I'm going to blame it on that. Is that silly? Does anyone else? The random things we do, right? That annoy our spouse, correct? Another thing I like to do is try to keep my product down in the jar just so it's all together, and make extra sure, if you can, if at all possible, keep as much of your gunk or your product off the rivets, because when you go to put the lid back on, if that dries in those rivets, man, it dries hard and it's very hard to get off. Ask me how I know. We had a very low jar here at TE and I finally just threw it out because I couldn't get the lid off. So I've applied a layer. I was fairly generous, I feel like, of that glitter grab. I'm going to take this again, beveled side down against my cardstock, and just go down with one swoop. And I don't use a heavy hand. I just use just a moderate pressure. And I noticed down here, I missed a little spot. So just pull straight down across your cardstock, and I try to only do it once. And then being this isn't contaminated in any way, I do take it and I put it down in my jar. I just try to get it down in there with the rest of the product. So, and again, I'm gonna have that white, that cover part back on my jar, back in. Not gonna go too far with that. We need it again. And you can do a couple of things. One, you could take this to your sink and wash it. I do have a bucket down below of water, but I do want to use this again here for another thing I want to show you. So I just take a baby wipe it off, and then my projects are clean and ready to go. I'm going to peel up the side that's just the one piece. I still have my hinge in place. I always like to peel that one up, and then I will pull this away from me to where my hinge is. It's what works best for me. If you're a left to right person, do that. I just go straight up with it and nothing moved. I don't have any obstructed or messed pieces. This is going to go in my bucket of water. When this stuff dries on stencils, it will come out if you soak it, but it's just, you know, give yourself the, I don't know, what do I want to say? Not having that hassle, I guess, is the word I want. Go ahead and just put that aside for later. I put it in my bucket of water so I don't have to hassle with trying to get that off later. And then I'm going to peel this up off of my glass board, which is nice to use this on a glass board because now I can just use a baby wipe to wipe that all up. Now this is what it looks like. Hopefully I will remember. I want to show you in the end what it looks like when I'm all done, because right now it looks white, and as it dries, don't be alarmed if your paper starts to curl a little bit. It'll flatten out once it's dry. When it's curled, it usually means it's still wet, but this will become crystal clear and look like, oh, can't get it off the paper here. That's the other thing. I will move this to a scratch piece of paper because I have had just little bits that are on the edges adhere to like my tabletop or even my glass board, and when it's dry it's just harder to get off, but I usually lay it on a scratch piece of paper. But this will show you what they look like totally dry on lavender glaze. And again, this was it on sea salt, or not sea salt, saltwater taffy, sorry. But that needs to dry. It usually takes at least an hour, I would say. I'm not very patient, so sometimes what I just do is try to do it the night before or the day before so that I can walk away from it. But I would plan on at least a couple of hours, because if you have any humidity in the air where you are, it will take a couple of hours to dry. So this, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Mink again. I just wanted to show you on different colors. So I'm going to just turn it up to a 2. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go 3. When I use my acetate, that's when I usually go down 1. I'm going to get rid of this off the back. I have some tape runner back here from when I did it the other day, but I want to get that off so that it's not on my carrier sheet or shim. Throw that in the garbage, all gone. We are going to use the TE Fun Foil Rainbows, Stars and Sparkles. This would be one of those that's 30% off today. Just make sure you act today. I'm going to take this, I'm going to measure it out, lay it over top of my cardstock. Again, I always save whatever temporary tape is holding this together. I did cut that a little wide. I think I was scared from the last time, but it'll be okay. So again, I have my glitter grab that's dry. I'm gonna have that side up, and I'm gonna lay that against my dull side, even though this is kind of pretty. It's not pretty. The wrong side, or the dull side of my foil. Lay that way on top of it. So I've got my shim again, my cardstock, the dull side of my foil against that dried glitter grab. And again, put the hinged side through my machine. So I'm going to bring in the 2 cards that I made with this and walk you through that as that comes through and dries. While that is going through, I'm going to I want to grab another one of these and my sticky sheets so I can show you what you can do with this scrap that comes off. How are we doing? What do you mean by white TE foiling sheets? Yvette, if you're talking about the toner sheets that are black, like this in white, it doesn't work. There is no way that we have, that you can do that. So I think that's what you're talking about. Did white foiling sheets, or do you mean the TE fun foil in white? Yeah, we haven't done that. We didn't, matte is something that we've looked into and haven't quite pulled the trigger on yet. Matte is just kind of a different thing when it comes to foiling. So, yeah, I don't know if that's what you're talking about. All right, letting this cool. I do have a habit of kind of, it heats up so fast that I turn it off because I don't want it to become overheated either. So pull that out of my carrier sheet. And then the big reveal. So I did this the other day when I was in at work, so it's had more than ample time to dry. And then we'll peel this off. Isn't that fun? Look at that. So this one, when I did my original one, I did it on cupcake. So that's why today I wanted to try lavender glaze. And then also try it on my, this was white that I put this piece on. But you can put it, this is where you can get more the sky's the limit. So if you use a stencil and your glitter grab, you can put that on any color cardstock you want. I know right now our foilets are limited to white with our toner print on them. That's how you can get some color to the actual base, is by using the glitter grab and your stencils. So I'm going to show you what you can do with this. So I'm going to set this aside. So that's what I used for the base of this card. These balloons are called the Celebrate in Style Balloon Bash die, and I used them on both. And then again, the Treat Yourself, just in case anyone's curious, is the sentiment. But I again used the foilets, use the TE black foil, and then die cut them. So those are my sentiments. But I want to show you also, so you could take this piece, again, put it on, if you wanted a black background, but I feel like you can't see that quite as well. Through the camera, I don't think you guys can see it at all. So black doesn't work quite as well. So I was debating, I didn't do it for this one. I have this one on my, this one was on sugar cube. So I want to show you how I did that. So again, you could use sugar cube if you wanted. This one's saltwater taffy. I'm going to take one of our sticky sheets. Any double-sided sticky sheet will work. I'm going to peel off one side of this, and I cut this to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 saltwater taffy, just because that's what our sticky sheets are. You could cut them down if you didn't want to do anything that big. And I peel back just a corner just so that I'm not fighting with the whole sticky sheet all at one time. And I'm going to, I can see that my sticky sheet kind of moved, so I'm going to peel it back up, straighten it out. Okay. So take that corner, you're going to put it down in this corner, and then that way I don't have to fight the whole piece of sticky sheet. And then you can peel back again, do the same process with peeling back just one corner. And I will grab my piece of fun foil that would be normally considered garbage. Lay that on top of that sticky corner, adhere it down, and then I will walk my fingers, pulling this one back and walking this one down. That way I can kind of, I don't know, try to eliminate the bubbles or wrinkles or anything like that. And then that's how I got, again, this was on sugar cube, this one is on saltwater taffy, but that's how I got that background, is by using the leftover piece of this one. Again, I just took it and cut it down. This one I cut down to 3 3/4 by 5, just so I could kind of, it's a lot. I feel like a lot of shine, a lot of shimmer going on. So I cut it down a little bit more just to let this eggplant kind of bring the whole project together. You know what? I'm wrong. This is Concord. Forgive me. Concord grape. It's kind of what brought that together. This is Dragon fruit and Concord grape are the two colors that I used to create both of those cards. So that's how I did that one. That's how you get your second generation. Then also, I'm going to cut this just so it looks a little bit better to your eye. I usually just take it to my trimmer. I try to not die cut it. If I can just take it to a trimmer and cut it down, that's best. Sometimes when you die cut, it's a lot of extra pressure and it disrupts. Cut this down. And peel. Let's not forget to peel this up. Oh, I need to leave that, sorry. That's why you don't want to send it through the die cut machine, because you're going to disrupt that. We're going to leave that just right where it is. This is one where you are done now. There's nothing else to get rid of. So there you go. Let me get cleaned up, and I have one more thing to show you with the clear toner sheets. But again, they call them toner sheets, but there is no toner on this sheet. You would have to print toner on it to get a toner sheet. But let me show you what I've come up with for that. So I already pre-cut a piece of that clear toner sheet to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Sorry. It's hard to see, it's clear. I have to find it. See if I missed anything. Aloha, Amy from Hawaii, I love it. Okay. Okay, I know you can't see it, but on our glass board, there is the A2 square. Just because I cannot see the clear acetate very well once I get a stencil over the top, I do like to take that and lay it in that rectangle of the A2 of my glass board, because then I know it's there. I don't have to really question it. I'm going to take that and I will tape it down because the stencil I'm going to use is not going to get in my way. So let's adhere that down. And then I took our new, this has been around for a while. I believe it's called Filigree Heart. I wrote it down. Let me double check. I always try to get the names for you guys. I guess I'll let Whitney or someone else fill that in. I really thought I had written that down for you. I apologize. But this heart, we have a whole line of different ones of this one. And I'm going to take that then, make sure I have my stencil etching up. So when I say the right side of the stencil, you want to feel that etching or see where it says TESN. That'll help you if anyone's looking for it. 254. And being as I've put this in my A2 panel and taped it down, I can then take my 6x6 stencil and put it right in the middle of the stencil square. And then I know I'm going in the middle of that panel. Again, I'm going to double hinge that at the top. When I do this with the clear acetate, I like to really get these sides held down just to make sure nothing moves. So I did decide to tape both sides down. Forever Love stencil. Thank you, Erin. Thank you. It's got the die and also it's also got a coordinating die, and then that cuts out the heart and cuts out those center pieces. And in a bit, we're going to use just the die part, the outer part. But for this, we're going to come back to our glitter grab. That's why I said I wanted to hold on to it. Turn my mink back on. This time I'm just going to go to a 2 on my mink. So again, I'm not getting rid of that lid. I'm holding on to it. We're going to cover all of this opening generously with our, I don't think I mentioned that. These are the Nuvo spatulas, and I love them mainly because they're silicone based, and they're so easy to clean up. There's just nothing sticks to them. I love it. And again, I'm going to grab this beveled side down. Oh yes, Angie. Yeah, Angie's saying that pixie spray with some of your leftover foil works well. Yep, that is a fun little side technique to use some of those scraps. Again, beveled side down, and pull it straight across my stencil. Being this is not contaminated, I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the jar. Put my lid back on, because this stuff does dry, kind of like glue or cement. I don't want to use such a strong word, but make sure you get the lid back on. Wipe off my spatula again. Wipe them both off. I apologize, you have to watch me clean, but I'm telling you, it'll stick, so it's good for me to just take care of it. Again, I'm going to peel the two sides off, leave my hinge attached. Peel this up. And then let that hinge do the work for me. Go straight up with it. And this again needs to go in my bucket just so nothing dries on there. Have it underneath. And it doesn't have to be a lot of water. Here's my bucket. It's real fancy, but just, it's got maybe an inch of water in there. That'll just keep everything wet until I can get to a sink and get it cleaned up. And I don't have anything on my board. It looks like I stenciled onto the glass board, right? But I will peel this up, and again, this will take an hour to 2 hours to dry, but I did one the other day when I was in, so it is dry. So this is what it looks like wet. Let me get rid of my dirty baby wipe. So that's what it looks like wet, and this is the one that looks like dry. Can you even see it? Just a little bit. I don't know if I put another piece of cardstock behind it. Does that help? A little bit. You can see how it's clear now. So this is a great opportunity to either make more of like a shadow box looking card or a shaker card, something like that. So that is the card that I brought in originally. So let me get this out of the way so I don't bump it. Try to remember to show it to you in the end if it's dry. I can show you with the saltwater taffy one. It is already kind of starting to dry. Can you see how these edges are starting to turn clear? So that one is still drying, but let's bring this one back in. And this is the card that I made with it. I'm trying to make sure I don't have any glitter grab on my surface. I did this with rose gold. So I'm going to take a little bit of rose gold foil. I have a tip for you guys. It's always about how you learned something on your own, right? So with foil and this clear acetate, it does it's like embossing powder. It just kind of wants to stick where you don't want it to, right? So again, this is the rose gold foil, is the one I used for this. I am going to cut it so it's a little bit closer to the size of my image. It doesn't need to be tight, definitely not. But I just wanted to, I'm gonna save this piece because I feel like, just wanna go ahead and save that. I'll put that back in my tube. So again, I'm gonna take my Mink. This time, I will say, I turned mine down 1 notch, but it's completely up to you and how your Mink works. But this acetate is already so thin, I felt like I didn't quite need the heat to push through it. So I again have that clear sheet, and I can feel this is all dry, and I can feel that that's the right side up. You wouldn't want the smooth side. You want to be able to feel where that glitter grab is dried. And again, the wrong side of the foil against there. So you've got your shiny side looking up at you. On top of my shim in the carrier sheet, we'll run this through. Oh, something's up. I must have not, I'm gonna cut this. I'm a little wider than 6 inches. I must have not quite cut this down to A2. I didn't want it to get jammed. I could tell it was wider than my opening of my Mink. I'm glad I noticed because that would have been really bad to jam my machine live on. There we go. I'm gonna let that run through. And again, I do still like to let it cool a little bit. I feel like it helps. So we'll run that through. I will show you one that I made that I just feel like next time I make it, I would like to pick different shaker bits, but I like how it turned out. I used our arch stacklets and I did the tree, so maybe Erin can help me out with that one. There's the stencil that creates the tree also, and I did that one and I went through and sent it through with our gold, the TE Gold Star and Sparkle is what I used for that, for the tree, but that's similar in artistry to this one. And I made a shaker for Christmas out of it. This is what it looked like. So I know you're not getting the full tree, but I just kind of cut it down just so I could get a tag for a card. I know you guys have heard me say before how much I like tags for Christmas and putting a lot of effort and time into those. And then this Merry Christmas is also from one of our foilets. It's one of the mini foilets for holidays. So let me move my mink out of the way once more. Again, it's so hard to see being it's clear, but we're gonna let that cool just a sec. I'm gonna peek. Sometimes if you peek and it's not all the way adhered, we're good. I might run this through again. I feel like this machine might run a little cooler than our new one over there. I'm gonna run this through again. I'm gonna let it heat up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This normally doesn't work with toner, but it will work with this glitter grab. I'm gonna run that through again. Let it cool. Run that through one more time. Toner, for some reason, it's not the foil that, I don't want to, the word deactivate is a strong word, but there's nothing wrong with the foil. There's something that happens with the toner. If it didn't attach the first time, a lot of times you can't get it to attach the second time. I don't know why. The toner, once it's been heated, I feel like it's done. But the glitter grab, you have a second chance. I think that's why on the last one with the paint swatch stencil, I had a few more flicks that didn't get fully adhered to the foil. You run this through. We'll let it cool again though. But this time I went up to the 3. And this is how I say to you, it really depends on your machine. We had an old large, like the full size mink, and we were up to a 4 that we had to use all the time. So the new one, we've kind of had to start to adjust. This little mini has been with us for a while too. So it might just be getting a little worn out from all its use. So again, let that cool. Let's see. Yes, there we go. And that is how I made the heart that's floating there. Same way with the tree that I did in this one. Can you see that? Let me grab, I have a second piece of, let me grab a different piece of paper just to lay this on for you. There we go. So again, that's the rose gold. Isn't that pretty? You're welcome. The heart came from this same set. I believe Erin said it was, oh, Festive Fur is the, thank you, Erin, I appreciate. Forever Love is the stencil, and I believe the stamp and die, or the die set is also Forever Love. But that's where this heart came from, is you have this die cuts out all of those pieces. We obviously don't need it, but that's where I got the heart that I was able to create my shaker with for the wedding card. Is that, yes, I love I agree. I have this acetate and I don't have a toner printer, so I was trying to come up with other ways to use it other than sending it through my printer, which is inkjet and doesn't like anything else other than just regular printer paper. So let me put that aside. I have a couple more just because I always think it's fun to see. This one is an old, this is a foil I don't believe we sell anymore, but I just thought it was a lot of fun. Like all those dots I think would be fun for a birthday card or something else. So I thought it would be fun to show you a different So I've shown you the rose gold, which is solid, and the rainbow. This is a holographic silver glitter. And I already did this saltwater taffy with the glitter grab, and it's dry. So I wanted to run that one through just to show you. And I did one more just because it's fun to see it. I feel like what it looks like with different foils. This one is called the Nordic Snowflake, and I'm going to do that one too. Again, I have my adhesive on the back. I wish it doesn't matter if it goes through your mink, it really doesn't do anything, but for me, I just don't want that carrier sheet to have any adhesive residue on it. Just use a little rubbing alcohol and it'll come off, but just to get rid of it is kind of, I just save me the hassle of getting rid of it later, right? So again, I'm gonna cut this. Run this through. Again, I didn't lay my carrier sheet directly on top of my mink, and I'm kind of starting to panic, but I see it. I can lose this thing so easily. So again, I've got my shim, I've got the saltwater taffy with the glitter grab, all dry. I can feel it against the dull side of my TE fun foil. Again, you do want your foil over all of that. I mean, you won't have toner behind, but you will have just that residue of the sticky, I'm sure. And then while that's going through, I'm gonna go ahead and do I wanted to do a different one. Let's try the silver shimmer on these snowflakes. I'll have this ready to go to send that one through. Trim that off. I swear I could do this all day. I enjoy so much just doing up several panels and letting them dry and then coming back the next day. Because it's kind of like I make a mess and then walk away, let them dry, and then I get to come back and have fun with what I'm putting on them. So again, I'm gonna let this cool a little bit. Slide this off, and then we can put this snowflakes on to run that through. So again, this is the shimmer, but the silver. It comes in gold also. It's kind of fun to have options, right? So I'll run that one through while we look at this one. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, that was on my clear. Let me bring this back. I know someone was asking how I got my heart on this one. Again, that was the clear designer toner sheets by Decofoil with the glitter grab. Obviously let that dry, and then with rose gold foil is what I used over the top of that. And again, I did the tree, which is festive fir. And that one is with our gold stars and sparkle, if that one was what you were asking about. All right, let's peel this one. Isn't this the best part? Oh, this might be my favorite. Look at that. All that sparkle, I just love it. And then one more, and I will let you guys go. So make sure this, just the 30% off for the foiling products just runs today. And don't forget to join Taylor on Tuesday of next week, because she will be revealing all the bundles for Black Friday. And if you want to sign up for the text messages to see it all first, go under Connect with Us on our website. And it's one of the last things under there. It's not the last, but it's lower. So again, I believe this one's the Nordic Snowflake. Oh, this might be my favorite. And this is the shimmer. Let me remind myself that I've got it right. The silver shimmer. Ready for this one? Oh, that's pretty. That's saltwater taffy cardstock on the bottom. And this one would be so pretty again. Let me do one more with the sticky sheet. This one would be really good with the white on the sticky sheet. Let me grab one of our sticky sheets quick. So I have sugar cube cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you could do this with the Decofoil sheets, but you would end up with black behind. So that's kind of up to you. If you like that look, that's a little more modern, I feel like. It's a cool look too. But something like this, I might like the sugar cube behind. So I've got a panel of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sugar cube. And then take one of our sticky sheets, which is cut to be the same size. I like to peel back just one corner again, so I don't have to deal with all that sticky loose. Adhere that down, peel the back off, and then again, do just one corner at a time. It's not gonna wanna cooperate with me, will it? There we go. Get one corner up, just to show you this again because it's fun, right? Peel up one corner, and then you would lay what we usually consider to be our trash or garbage. I like to line it up towards the bottom where my adhesive is not exposed, and then walk my fingers up to that corner where my adhesive is exposed, and then walk my fingers while I'm peeling this backer off. Then you would have snowflake background to use the second piece that you've used here. Yeah, isn't that great? Saltwater taffy, I agree. The two go so well together. All right, let me bring my samples, and I promised I would show you the progress on the saltwater taffy. So we've been on, probably did this about 40 minutes ago. You can tell where it's still white, where it's very wet, and where it's clear, that part's dry. So when I say an hour to 2 hours, I would just tell yourself 2 hours just to be certain, because I can't tell how thick everyone decides to put that on. I don't think I put mine on really thick, but so let's grab these. I'll grab my cards again and go over next week, Tuesday, join Taylor, because I don't have tea to spill. I have 2 more cards I want to lay out for you. Again, this is Lori's card that I copied. And then my balloon cards. There we go. So hopefully I answered questions and showed you as many things that I know how to do with toner and TE Fun Foil. I'm sure there's more that I still have to learn, but this is what I've learned so far. You don't peel the foil. I don't. You can. You totally can. What EC's is asking is if I peel the clear part up. When I do it on these, on the black toner sheet, I do peel the extra piece up. I have gotten in the habit, let me show you, of leaving that go. I'll show you why. I usually leave it because one, it's shiny and nice and really kind of protecting that. I have learned in the past to kind of leave it because with the sticky sheet, sometimes you can get a hold of that clear part by itself and sometimes you can't. And if I can't get a hold of all of it or it doesn't want to release, it almost ends up ruining it. I'm better off just leaving it in place. That's one of the reasons why I don't really die cut it. I do try to take it to a trimmer and trim it down to where I want it to be, but I don't die cut it because sometimes it'll disrupt that clear piece over the top. If you can successfully get it off, go for it. Another reason why not to is because everywhere that is like the flick from here is here, it's going to be sticky. Does that make sense? So that's one of the reasons why it's hard to get it peeled off all the way. So let me see if I can just kind of ruin this one. Nope, it won't even let me. It's basically hard, ECs, to be honest with you, to peel that extra clear piece up. And anywhere, like I said, here, you're gonna have exposed sticky sheet because that foil that was there is actually in this card. Does that make sense? So, yeah, you can throw, Yvette's saying you can throw clear embossing powder over any of that and reheat it. I know we've done our powder tool in the past to kind of detack all those little flicks or the paint swatches that are from that stencil. You can do that, but I just choose to leave it on. It's completely up to you. Like Yvette said, she throws clear embossing powder on it and embosses it. absolutely you can do that. This one, I just left it on. It's right there. Completely up to you what works for you and what you like doing. So I think that, let me double check. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. What colors did I use on the tree tag? This is jalapeno and mulled wine, my two favorite Christmas colors. I know we came out with winter green, but I am more of a, I would say, vintage Christmas colors. So, and then again, this is Gold Star and Sparkle TE Fun Foil. All right, I want to make sure I answered everything. I think, oh, EC says that makes sense. Up to you, give it a try. It's just paper, like if you had some scratch paper or a scratch project you wanted to try it with, or maybe something that doesn't work out perfectly, try it. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope you join Taylor on Friday. Don't forget to keep checking back all week. There's a different sale all week long, and hope you have a great weekend.